How can creators like us, who are new to building online businesses, who have high value skill sets, how do we scale our monthly recurring revenue, or MRR, to get us the freedom we desire? That is the question, and this newsletter will give you the answers. Be sure to subscribe if these are the types of answers you seek. My name is Boise Gordon, and welcome to episode 14 of Boise Talks Business. Episode 14. This one part of your business is sure to make you stand out. The art of revising your business model for maximum differentiation. In last episode, I broke down the foundation of a content strategy for those looking to build their businesses. It was an enhanced strategy from my previous one that netted me a 4-figure deal this month. In fact, the minute that I changed it, roughly 2 weeks, it resulted in my first 4-figure deal. So definitely excited about that. I onboarded the client today. We went through kind of the basics of the offer. Again, they also acknowledged this is new for me too. So we're working together to build this one out. So the second client from X, or the second client for this offer, I actually have 2 clients on different offers, but second client for this offer will actually have a much easier time. Obviously a less customized experience, but it'll definitely be a more stable process throughout it. So excited to get my process revamped. I already had one set, but now I'm just going back and refining things. So definitely check out last episode if you want to look at a solid content process. For those that don't know, I've been writing online for 100+ days, and that content process is kind of a combination of all the things I've learned about writing online and just having evergreen content, things that just keep popping in my head. I always have stuff to talk about, even when it seems like I don't. Like, for instance, like this article in itself came from a conversation I had with my client. And I felt it was something that a lot of people undervalue, which is differentiation in business model. Everybody wants to differentiate their actual service, but oftentimes differentiating parts of your business model is enough. So today we will discuss the major factor in differentiation, a business model, but going even more specifically into something else, a revenue model. Yes, your revenue model will make you stand out and help you close more business. Business model basics. A business model is simply your company's process for making a profit. Most businesses would normally differentiate using this as the measurement of differentiation. But we're creators, right? So it's a little bit different for us, but I'll continue. So whether you're changing net payment terms or outsourcing work, the business model is always centered around profits. That's what a business model is designed to do. So I like to think of them as like an internal approach to differentiation, since the client wouldn't really have any clue about the change. So for instance, let's say you outsource your work. Well, your clients still think you're your company. They don't really know that you're outsourcing parts of the work to somewhere else. All they see is the end result. So you're cheapening your cost by outsourcing the work so that you don't have to hire employees to do it. You're hiring maybe freelancers, but the client is still getting the same deal. So you're decreasing your cost to increase your profit. You're not changing how much you're getting in. Or maybe you can, depending on what you're outsourcing or your business model. But a revenue model does something external, and that's kind of the main thing we want to control when we're working with a creator business, especially online business, is external differentiation. How different do I look from someone else? So the power of a differentiated revenue model, differentiated. I've never used that word so much in my life. Anyway, a revenue model is a company's process for making revenue. Obviously, as a creator business, costs are fairly low. Most creators are only paying for internet and a handful of software to help maintain organization. Like, for instance, like I'm paying for like email. I pay for like a couple domains. I pay for like some premium softwares, maybe like Canva Pro I use, like Slack Pro I just got today. My costs are fairly cheap. Like I could probably pay all my stuff with $200, most likely less than that a month. All right. The biggest thing that creators are concerned with, or should be concerned with, is revenue. You hear everybody talk about revenue, MRR. Nobody talk about profit, because oftentimes, at least you shouldn't be spending a lot as a creator, if you're a creator business, especially in the beginning, the only time you should actually worry about profit is when you're scaling, because then you're going to have to pay the cost to scale. And then your scaling is obviously going to have to profit you in a way. All right. So this is mainly pertaining to, entrepreneurs and online business creators in like that middle phase, maybe like beginning phase 2. While the biggest thing of a creator's concern should be revenue, this also happens to be on the opposite end of what customers use to compare services. Cost. What a customer pays turns into your revenue. So all they see is what it costs them. That is where a differentiated revenue model can have a crazy amount of impact with little to no effort on your part. And honestly, it can bring you more revenue than, staying within the meta or norm of whatever your industry's revenue model is. So most prospects see similar services as the same. If I'm offering A and you're offering A plus 1 and he's offering A plus 3, it doesn't matter what the pluses are, because most customers are going to just look and say, oh, your stuff costs $200 more than his, right? It's not until your prices are the exact same that they'll start to actually compare the services. But how often does that happen, right? Like, you lose control from having a basic revenue model. And then most prospects make decisions based on short-term things. How much is it going to cost me today? How much is it going to cost me, how much am I going to get back today or tomorrow or this month? Like, that is essentially what most people care about. Like, even the most entrepreneurial and business oriented have a hard time looking at ROI over long periods of time when they are struggling today. They want money now. It's my money and I need it now. Like, for my American friends, y'all know what I'm talking about. Most prospects won't understand the non-monetary value of your service. They just can't fathom it. You're putting your heart and your soul into typing the sales letter. Even though you use all the wonderful language in the world, it is very hard for someone to remove money from the equation of value, because they're literally having to sacrifice the one thing they're trying to make to work with you. So, just food for thought there. Like, those are the three things. Most customers or most prospects see all similar services as the same thing. They're only going to compare price. Most prospects make decisions based on short-term factors. How much am I making now? How much am I going to pay now? And most prospects will not understand the monetary value or the non-monetary value of your service. All right. So this is how you should play it, or this is how I would play it when it comes to revenue model. So make a revenue model that breaks their pattern and forces them to objectively evaluate your offer. Remove the cost away from the bargaining table. You want them not to be confused by your revenue model, but to be thrown off. Like, oh, I was expecting a flat fee. No, you're not getting just a flat fee. You're going to have to pay something else, right? This is I'm going to share the revenue model that I used to close my first client on X. It's a 4-figure deal. I actually discounted my services about 50% to close the deal when it comes to like total compensation, but it doesn't add up. The money up front is only in the 3-figure range. It's the other part of my revenue model that gets it to that 4-figure range, right? So the first part of it's money paid up front. So, hey, pay me this today, plus a 50% conditional revenue share, which means I make half of whatever they make based on a certain set of conditions, which we negotiated. We talked about it. It really wasn't much of a negotiation. It was like, hey, here you go. And it was like, oh, I can do that, right? People only care about the money up front. Even my client, that, oh, I can do that, was like, oh, this is all I have to give up today? But my deal, like, I'm making more money on the back end than the front end, and I'm fine with that. Like, my deal not only lets us both share the risk, but it forced my client to evaluate the value of my offer without bias. Like they looked at it and said, oh, wow, this isn't that bad. This isn't that expensive, right? Even though, like, most people would not pay that much if I were to just blatantly, and I don't want to get into prices here. If you want to know like the actual like details, I can definitely hop on a call with you and discuss. But, you know, this is just about like differentiation right now. Like most people don't want to look at four figures in the cost portion of their offer, their offer letter that you gave them. Most people. And if your normal client range is in the five figures, most clients do not want to see five figures in the deal, right? So if you can break it up and make it look a little prettier while also giving yourself extra money than if you were to give them the flat price, they're going to take the money up front paid plus the conditional offer on the revenue. Even though it's going to cost them more in the long run, they don't have to sacrifice as much on the front end. So that definitely helps. But it's not for everybody. I have a different situation. You should definitely use the thing that benefits your situation the most. So here are a few different revenue offers that pull different levers. I kind of wrote this out on a lead magnet I'm working on. I actually typed it all up today. So it'll be coming out soon. It's literally a clarity guide, helps creators and like anybody trying to build an online business get super clear on like their offer and like what they're going to offer to other people, who they're going to offer it to, all those wonderful things, their revenue models, their business model. Like it's not detailed, which is the point. It's supposed to be a super clear way of doing it. I ask you questions, you fill it out. It'll be fun. So I'll let y'all know when that's done. But here's a few revenue models. So a la carte or pay per item. Great if you offer things that have a fast turnaround. Great for freelancers. If you're offering like a deliverable based service, then it's like I can just keep churning these out. Like if you're offering like a pay per article service, like that's your revenue model. Like pay this much per article. Monthly subscription. This is the most common type of revenue model. Like for instance, like my revenue model turns into a monthly subscription after the first month, which is the paid up front plus the 50% conditional. So it's fine to do, but you have to get your foot in the door, or else they're just going to compare your offer to whoever's using a monthly subscription. And I'm sure if they're, shopping around with you, they've probably looked at other people's offers and made a decision and have a budget. So like, if you can be flexible with your revenue model, you can get access to more clients because they don't have to sacrifice as much of their budget. Right. And then now we get into the next part. So 100% result based offer. So this removes risk from your customer. It's literally like, I don't get paid until I do X. Now, I never want to suggest working for free and delivering on something unless it's like something you can gatekeep, like an article. Like, hey, I wrote this article. Here it is. Here's the draft. And then, they pay you there. Cool. But I don't suggest 100% result based. You can change the percentages and stuff to make it more comfortable. But I don't recommend like 100% of that. And then paid in full. This removes risk from your business. You don't have to worry about if a customer is going to be a long-term customer. They're paying for the entire service upfront. Whether your service is 3 months, a month, doesn't matter. They're paying for it upfront. All right. This is good if you have like already some momentum, maybe a following, maybe some clout that you can leverage, because the only way that someone's going to want or feel comfortable paying in full is if they are a real believer that you can offer what you say you're offering, which you can do with good content marketing, but it's a lot harder to get that reputation early. And then retainer. So great if you outsource work to others. It's pretty much a client paying you up front for future work. It's kind of like keeping a tab at a bar. Every time you have to do something for them, you take money out of that retainer. I don't recommend this if you don't have the tools to track the hours that you're going to be working or the costs that you're going to incur. But once again, this is a great thing for agencies. A lot of agencies prefer retainer just so that they don't have to beat the client's door down whenever they want to do something. It's like, hey, you already paid me. You told me to get you this deliverable. This is how much I need to do that. Okay, cool. This is within budget, right? And then hybrid. Hybrid gives you the best of any world. You can combine and, make your offer stand out a little more by just changing and combining some of these things. So like for me, money up front is kind of like paid in full, and then result based offer, I did like 50% result based. It's really like 60% result based ish for me. So when selecting a revenue model, you want to identify your leverage. So how much do you have, like in terms of like authority or like belief or trust? What's your leverage like? Then pick the one that is most lucrative to your situation and removes the most necessary risk to your customer. So you want to have something that's like a compromise, where your customer is going to be okay and happy with it, and you are also happy with it. And if both of you are happy, then it's a good deal. Tip: use a differentiated model or a differentiated revenue model that is different in your industry. So, for instance, like lawyers tend to use retainers. A lawyer that wants to stand out, especially if they're new to their practice, probably will want to use, I don't know, an a la carte thing or a monthly subscription or maybe result based or maybe a combination of paid in full and like, different things like that. It's definitely a fun experiment. I always look for new opportunities to try a new revenue model. Once again, I'm fairly new in terms of my business, so I have the ability to experiment. I haven't gotten my system 100% solidified, so whatever revenue model is working is the one that I'm going to go with. And then if I change it, I change it. And then I also throw in a bonus revenue model, memberships. It's similar to monthly subscriptions. The only difference, I guess, would be like the deliverable side. So like a monthly subscription would get you a certain amount. A membership is just like strictly community. I don't know. I guess that's technically monthly subscription. So ignore that one. It's fine. Okay, that's all I got. I did a lot today. I had like 4 hours worth of meetings. Wrote a lead magnet. Sent like hella DMs. I still have to engage on X. But we're here. We're killing it. So thanks for stopping by. I appreciate, every single one of you. P.S. I did just cover this month's slot and next month's slot for my offer. So I will start a wait list for those interested in getting dibs on the next slot that I do open. I do have an email for anyone who's listening and not a part of the Substack that wants to join the wait list. It is waitlist, one word, at boisegordon.com. Yep, that is it. Waitlist at boisegordon.com. Send an email there, and I'll get you on the wait list. And then, again, if I can open any more slots next month, I will, but I am not confident right now. I just met with the client today, so I do have to go through the deliverables and the timeline to make sure that I have the availability to work with one or two other people next month. But we'll see. Once again, if you're interested, go ahead and just send an email to waitlist. We can hop on a quick discovery call, see where the problems are and if we're a good fit to work together. And if you are interested and you are a Substack subscriber, just reply scale to this email and we'll hop on a free strategy call. Same thing as if you were to email me. Cool. All right, guys, that has been it. It has been lovely. I am pooped, gassed, tired. I'm going to relax for a little bit and then I got to hop right back into this. So love you guys. See you tomorrow.